Hi there. Welcome to the Notorious Needle. I'm Sarah. I'm the designer.
I'm Bridget. I'm her mom.
And on this channel, we talk about cross stitch. So in this video, we're going to talk not just about StitchCon, but like our experiences of where to eat and other things as well, which is tangential but not actually cross stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the description below, I'm going to put timestamps for all of the topics so that you can easily find what you're looking for.
Or skip what you don't want.
Or skip if you don't care what we ate.
Right.
That's not cross stitch. Move on. Point of StitchCon is bringing Flosstubers and their audiences together.
Now, the point is bringing all your stuff, shopping, showing off what you've stitched, looking at what other people have stitched, getting ideas from what other people have stitched.
Oh, and snickety snacks. There were snacks everywhere.
Lots of snacking. There's a lot to stitch, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot of people, there's a ton of networking.
But it's all informal.
A lot of shopping.
It's just a very informal like gathering. That's a good word. It's a gathering.
And everybody who's there loves to stitch.
Oh yeah, you have to.
They do.
Freaking travel thousands of miles. Yes.
So we all have that in common. We all love to make things.
Yes.
We're all creative people. And you know, it's really such a blessing to sit in a room full of other creative people.
Yes.
It just is. It just juices you up like nothing else.
It does. It was very exciting. I didn't get a lot of stitching. Adrenaline was pumping all day. I was so excited. I saw so many things. I slept hard at night.
She did.
I did. I slept really hard, so it was good.
Yeah.
StitchCon takes place in two places. It takes place in the Sharonville Convention Center, which is just outside of Cincinnati, and La Quinta Inn, which is around the corner up the street.
Right.
We chose to stay.
It's on the other side of the highway, so it's really not walkable.
You would think it would be walkable because as the crow flies, right? Is that what they call it?
You can see one
it's
from
like
the other.
a quarter mile from each other, but the highway is right there, so it's really not walkable. When we arrived, we actually arrived in the Cincinnati CVG airport is just outside of Ohio. It's not actually in Ohio.
No,
it's in northern Kentucky.
Kentucky,
yes, which was surprising.
Yeah. Right.
So finally, StitchCon started at, I think it was noon on Thursday.
Right.
Even though check-in starts at noon, the hotel check-in at Hyatt and La Quinta on Thursday, and the live-in, which is next door to Hyatt, was 3 o'clock. So you could go to StitchCon first, wait in line at registration at noon or wait a little after, sit at your table, and then check in after you've already like dropped your stuff off, picked your table, dropped your stuff off, and gone to check in. Registration. Mm-hmm. So when you get there, the convention center, where you park or you get you get dropped off by the Stitchy Bus at the convention center, is actually like mid-level, and then you have to walk downstairs to the actual area where StitchCon occurs. So you need to be able to walk stairs or find the elevator. I never found the elevator.
There was an elevator?
Stairs. There has to be for ADA accessibility.
Well, we never found the elevator because we took the stairs.
We took the stairs, but
it's only one flight.
So there's this big poster that says StitchCon on it. You know you're in the right place. And they have another big poster with like all the Flosstubers listed, which was really cool because my name was on it. Our name was on it.
And the Flosstubers also are in the book. So
when you get to registration, you get to registration, and Pam and Steph were right there handing out all the things you get for registration. So they give you this beautiful StitchCon tote bag. So we talk about all the stitchy stuff in depth in another video.
Right.
And I will put the link to that below. But you start with the StitchCon tote bag, and they hand you goodies. You get a journal and a pen.
And you need to see that this is a big bag. This is not one of those little narrow bags that you get at the grocery store. This sucker will hold a lot.
It's heavy duty canvas. It's really good. There's a little pocket here,
well
like
made.
for your phone or whatever. This is not breaking apart. I will have this for years. They hand you that. They hand you.
We'll have a collection of them for years.
They hand you your paper name tag, and you get this little freebie that you put it inside. So you put it in yourself. Mom had her own lanyard, so she just clipped hers to that. Of course, it had a bee on it.
Bee lanyard.
And you get a bunch of other goodies. You get a journal and a pen. Oh, and you get this, which is the StitchCon passport. So this is your Bible for the weekend.
Right.
It tells you all the things you need to know. Almost all the things.
Mostly.
It doesn't tell you that the brag table fills up early.
No. 2 ballrooms put together. So you walk in and there's 2 ballrooms put together, and they have little round tables, and every table has electric.
Kind of like a wedding reception, 6 person to a table.
Right, 6 tops.
Yep.
And every single table has electric underneath, so you can plug in your lights.
Yeah.
You can plug in your tablets.
But it is underneath the table, so you're going to need
Right.
cords long enough to come out from under the table and then sit on top of the table.
Some people brought a tower, which was a great idea, and that's another thing. If you have a tower, you know, and what I'm talking about is these little small things that plug in, and then around the bottom of it they have plugs, and around the top of it they have USB ports. My mom has one of these in her craft room, and they're great. So if you have a small tower that you don't mind packing, that would be a great addition, because you could put it in the center of your table, arrange your snacks around it, and everybody could plug in. Otherwise, you're going to have your daughter crawl under the table to plug your shit in, because that's what I had to do.
I did. I spent a little too much time under that table.
That didn't sound right.
And you just go sit wherever you want. There's like not assigned seats.
You're just chatting, and you're sitting at the table, and you're sitting at the table and you're stitching, okay? And then people are coming around. With free stuff.
All the floss drops and needle minders, pens and highlighters,
candy, you know, things that they just want to share. They bring enough to share, and they go around the tables and they're introducing themselves.
So you're constantly interrupted, but happily so.
Right.
Yay, oh, I'm so happy to meet you. I saw you on Flosstube. Or like, ooh, that's a designer. I like her patterns. I'm going to go say hi.
Can we get a picture?
Yes.
Yeah. The stitching room is locked, so you can leave whatever you're not going to work on.
Yes.
That night. I mean, if you're not going to the late night stitchy room, you can leave your stuff right there on the table. Nobody touches your stuff.
Yes. The conference room is locked every night when they close at 10 o'clock.
Right. So it's locked. Your stuff is safe. You can leave your tablet there. You can leave your lights there.
So you're not schlepping it back and forth to your room if you're staying at the Hyatt, which is where the convention happens, and you're not schlepping it back and forth on the Stitchy Bus if you don't want to. Yeah, people they had their rolling bags with like all their craft stuff in it, with like their lights, their magnifiers, and their pattern stands, and like
you could tell who drove, because they actually had their floor stands and their floor lights coming over the top, and it was like, man, mine's home. She did a roll call during the opening. They have like an opening, I won't say ceremony.
It was a what did they call it? They called it the welcome gathering in the Stitchy room at 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Yeah. So she did.
So we're trying to stay on track. We've got the itinerary right here.
We're trying. We're not succeeding, but we're trying. But anyways, so she did like a welcoming speech and everything, talked about, you know, how it got started and who did what and blah blah blah. So she said almost every state was represented, so she went through the states and had everybody stand up who was from the states, and there was like 19 people from Florida. I was very glad that she did that way.
Let's move on to Smalls Exchange. So StitchCon has a tradition, they call it the Smalls Exchange, where it's voluntary, and if you like, you can stitch up something small, no bigger than 6 inches, gift wrap it, and the gift wrap or the bag or whatever, the packaging should reflect the style of the small that's inside, so that
the theme,
right? So that when somebody is coming to pick the gift, they can determine without opening it, most likely, if it's something they're going to enjoy or not.
Right, if the theme is going to be something they enjoy. Like when I picked my small, and that's in the other video, I chose something with a bee theme, and the bag it was in was clearly bee themed. And there were quite a few bee themed smalls this year at StitchCon.
How the smalls work. There's 300 people at each weekend at StitchCon. They can't possibly do all the smalls at once. It would be boring as fuck. It would take forever. Who wants to sit through that? So they do 100 people at a time. And what they have is different colored like tokens, chips. Poker chips. Right. And each chip has a number on it. So when you register, they ask you if you have a small to share, and if you say yes, they have a bag of chips that are red, white, and blue, and you take a chip and it has your number on it. Right. And on Friday, they do 1 smalls exchange for 1 color, and on Saturday, they do the other 2 smalls exchanges for the other colors. And they randomly call out a range of numbers. They don't start from 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. They started at like in the middle, 70 to 79, you know, so you never know, no matter what your number was, who's going to pick your small. And actually, I had number 6, white number 6, and it was like the second to the last thing called. So it's all very well organized. Actually, it's very smooth. Like,
but I do want to say one thing.
And then after.
No, I want to finish with the smalls exchange.
I'm not done with the smalls exchange.
Okay.
I was going to say afterwards, what they have you do is they have you take the small that you were gifted. Mine are right here. I got these Halloween decoration, the ornaments. Which you can see in the stitching stuff video.
Right.
But they have you bring your small to the table, and they all lined up. I think I got a few pictures of that too, and I'll insert that here. And you can meet the person who made your small, and then meet the person who got your small.
Right.
Which was nice.
Yep. Yeah. It was very nice to meet the people that you were connected with. What I wanted to say on the small exchange was I heard through the grapevine. Ladies talking and said that someone had, after the first smalls exchange, they saw the level of craftsmanship of the people that had done the small, that she actually gave back her chip and took her small home with her. She decided not to exchange it. And I just want to say, please, if you go to StitchCon, don't get overwhelmed by thinking that you're not good enough, or your small exchange isn't good enough, or whatever. Someone will love it. The fact that you made it, the fact that you put work into it. And I mean, we did, honestly, I watched a bunch of videos about what people included in their small, because I was like, I don't know. Yeah. And I heard that, people like went over the top, like they included like a stitch book and a needle minder and a needle fob and a scissor thing. The smalls that you got a bunch of things in addition to the small that were part of the same theme. Right, and I didn't really know what to include in mine, and I'm like, well, all it says is that your small can't be bigger than 6 inches of stitching,
and that the packaging has to
reflect the theme. They don't say anything about adding all this extra goodies that apparently has become the norm.
Yeah.
So
but everyone's a maker. All the smalls are handmade, and if I had gotten just one ornament and no candy and no needle thread or anything, I would have been thrilled, because we all know how much work is put into it. We all know that it's made with love, and it's not a competition.
Right, and I feel very badly for the lady that thought that she had to withdraw her small because it wasn't up to the level of everybody else's, and she didn't want to disappoint the person who would end up with it. I feel really badly for her, because I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah,
when I saw all the stuff, and I was like, wow, I didn't add a bunch of stuff with mine.
I kept adding stuff. I was like, ooh, that could go with Zelda. Ooh, that's a Zelda thing. Ooh, we should do that.
Yeah. So, I just want to say, just do it. Just do it.
Do it anyways. It's a good experience.
Yeah. It should not be a competition. It should not be overwhelming.
And listen, I feel like if you don't like someone small, don't tell them that. Keep it to yourself.
Right.
Be nice.
Re-gift be kind.
Yeah. Everyone was kind.
Yes.
I don't think anyone was told, I don't like your small.
Not that I heard, because I'm pretty sure if somebody had said that, it would have gone around the world like wildfire.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That would have been gossiped about, I'm sure. Anyway, it was lovely. We had a great time. And what a great idea,
yes.
Because like I said, we're all stitchers, we're all makers. We know how much work is involved, so.
Yes. There is a bell.
Oh,
it's
yes.
a little bell on top of the podium, and when you finish, you ring the bell.
You ding, ding, ding.
And then you hold up your work.
And everybody yay,
claps and
cheers
yays and gives you support.
It's fun.
And people videotape that.
Yep, so
it's adorable.
The brag table. It's actually like a dozen tables, long tables put together across 2 walls of this huge ballroom, 2 ballrooms put together. So I brought the pattern I fuck better than I cook.
Oh yeah,
and I didn't want to put it on the brag table because I didn't see any other embroidery
profanity
with curse words on it, so I didn't put it on the brag table. I think I'm gonna ask about that next time. Like they didn't say that there was anything you couldn't put out, but I know I try to be sensitive to other people's sensibilities.
Also about the brag table, they tell you what the design is, who stitched it, the fabric, the count, and what table this person is
yeah,
at.
and you get a card that you fill out. I'll put a picture here.
I have mine, but I didn't. Yeah.
You get a card that you fill out with all the information for that project so that people can come find you and ask you about it.
So if you see something that you like and you like the pattern or you have questions, how did you get this framed? How did you do that? You can go talk to the person and they will tell you. And there was
They're happy to. All of the ladies and the gentlemen that I asked about their stitching, they were happy to share. I mean, that's what we're all there for. And what I wish I had known was the brag table fills up early. By the time we got there, there was almost no room to put the shit ton of cross-stitch projects that we brought for the brag table.
No, I only brought 5.
I brought 7 or 8.
And the table across from the brag table on the opposite wall had a big map on it, on the wall. And you were supposed to put a pin to show where
you're from.
Came from. And they were going to run strings to
They had
pins.
one of the contiguous United States, and then Hawaii and Alaska,
then a global.
And then a global map.
Because apparently we had people who had come from overseas.
Iceland, and one lady, her and her husband were American but stationed in Germany.
So that she came
I think
too.
a couple of others.
And then I have a little bit of advice for if you pick up something from the freebie table.
Oh yes,
is this a good place to put that in?
Yes.
Okay, so
one thing I wanted to know before going to StitchCon was
what
you're gonna say.
Oh, no, that wasn't it.
The freebie table.
Oh, well, I didn't really know what would be on the freebie table because I hadn't really seen, I don't think anybody took pictures of the freebie table.
If I did, I will put them here.
Okay, but I didn't see any, I had heard about the freebie table, but I didn't really see anything in anybody's videos about it.
It's like,
so I wasn't sure what to do.
2 conference tables, or 3, it's like 20 feet back-to-back tables.
Right.
And people, it's basically de-stash.
Yes.
So I brought something for the freebie table. I brought a baby blanket. That's not my style, and I'll never stitch it. It was a whole kit, and I just put the kit on the table. But to Bridget's future point, I didn't check and make sure that all the things were still in the kit. It was given to somebody, purchased it for me at a yard sale, thinking that I might like it, and I never even opened it up. I looked at the front, and I was like, I'll probably never stitch that. So I brought it to give away.
Right.
Your experience
and so I had picked up a few things on the freebie table.
Oh, that's also in our Stitchy Stuff video, so the link to that is below, and you'll see the shit ton of crap that she brought home from the freebie table.
Which I intend to stitch it.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't stuff that is out of my, what's the word? Wheelhouse? I don't know. Anyway, it's stuff that I intend to stitch and that other people evidently did not find a use for, but I will. So I don't feel bad about that. But what I do feel bad about is that I probably could have de-stashed a lot of stuff that I have on the freebie table. But I didn't really know that partial kits were allowed. People even brought patterns from a kit where they had used the kit and just brought the one sheet of the pattern and stuck it on the freebie table, which I actually came home with a couple of those.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's what you could do. Now, I will say that I wanted a StitchCon start.
Yes.
So there was a small on the freebie table that I won't go into a long description because I don't want the person who brought it to feel bad.
Because like me, they probably didn't check the contents, or maybe they used part of it or what have you.
I don't know, but I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is really cute. And I do cards, so I make cards with my mom. It's one of the other things that I do. I go over once a week.
Yeah.
And one year I had stitched a whole bunch of Christmas cards, so I had all these little Christmas smalls, and I made a card, and then the cross stitch went on the front of the card. And I do have to say that everybody that got one really loved them.
I like mine. I still have mine on the fridge from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback from that. So I thought, oh, well, I can stitch other things that'll also be cards. And this one was. And I thought, oh, I have somebody, it was for a wedding, and I have somebody who's getting married in our family. So I thought it would be great. So I figured, oh, I'll stitch it here. It's easy, it's a fast, it's a small, I'll have a finish, I can ring the bell, all the things. And I folded the fabric in half, and I counted halfway down the thing, and I started stitching, and I stitched toward the bottom. And when I got like 3/4 of the way down, I realized I only have 10 stitches left on the fabric, and yet I am 21 stitches from the bottom of the pattern. So the Aida that was in the bag with the project and all of the floss might not have been the Aida that was originally in the kit.
Yeah, probably
because it wasn't big enough. And I didn't count the pattern and count the Aida. I just made the assumption that it was big enough, which I don't feel bad. It was like 2 hours stitching away, and I was happy to stitch. I didn't care. But then I was a little frustrated because it was like, oh crap.
Yep. So if you find something that you love on the freebie table, which is a wonderful idea, and we love that idea, just check to make sure that you have everything before you start stitching it right then and there. Like, so you might not have all the flosses, or maybe the original stitcher who donated to the freebie table thought that there was enough, because we eyeballed it. We thought there was enough fabric,
right?
And there wasn't.
And it might have been a manufacturer's thing.
A defect.
Right, exactly.
Right, so
who knows?
Check before you start. So
which is probably not a bad idea for anything kit that you buy.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So that was totally on us. We should have counted better.
But it's just my karma that I don't have enough fabric to finish my thing.
Story of her life.
It's like, since you were like little, it's always been, I always have issues with having enough fabric to do the thing or finish the thing or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like, that was
you
definitely.
Taught me your bad habit.
That was definitely karma coming to roost.
That was funny.
So I don't feel bad about it, but it's just a funny story I wanted to share. So StitchCon, they sell raffle tickets, and they have they choose a
charity.
It
seems like every year is a different charity, at least between last year and this year they were different.
Right. So then they sell raffle tickets, and so you buy raffle tickets, but it's not just for one prize. They have baskets, they have bags, they have one of the raffle prizes was getting your
your StitchCon registration fee reimbursed.
Right?
Yep.
So they have a lot of different,
Dude, that's $200. Like, I would have been happy with that.
There are project bags. I mean, they have a lot of stuff that they raffle off, and they do a raffle every day. And the nice thing is, if you're not there, like we weren't there on Sunday because we had to get a flight home that didn't arrive at 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole other story.
Morning. Right, so we won't even go into that. But we weren't there on Sunday, and I put my name and number on the back of the ticket so that in the event that I won something from Sunday's raffle, they could contact me.
And they said that they would.
They would mail it.
They said that they would let us know and we would still get it.
So you do not have to be present to win.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Yes.
So, and I don't mind buying raffle tickets for a good cause, and then if I win something, that's wonderful, and if I don't win something, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's a donation.
Yeah.
So, I didn't worry about that. And then they also had an auction where someone had donated.
Oh, this was the first year that they did this.
Yeah. And it may not happen again, so I don't know. But someone had donated a yard of specialty fabric that they had hand dyed, and so they auctioned it off, and it went for an exorbitant amount.
They said it would retail for like $140, but the person who ended up getting it paid over $500.
I think so,
and it went towards charity. And actually, it was a lot a fun watching everybody bid in the room.
I bid.
Yeah.
I think I bid 20.
Oh yeah, $20. Because they started the bidding at $2.
Right.
But clearly they'd never done it. They said they'd never done an auction before. It was really fun watching Stephanie.
She was getting into it.
She was all excited.
She was getting into the auctioneering part.
Yeah. It was a good time. A good time was had by all.
Yeah, so that was also fun.
We did cover raffles. They also had door prizes, so you didn't have to buy raffle tickets. You just show up, and they had door prizes. And again, they use the number down here on your name tag, and they'll call your number if you win a door prize. And you just they had curated gift baskets from some of the Keepsakes employees. One employee, I don't remember if it was a raffle or a door prize, but one of the employees had made something. She stitched it and donated that. It was patterns, it was stitchy supplies, it was finishes, all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So worth it to stay, and it was just really enjoyable to like watch the winners. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh yeah.
They had this little the first person who won something
squealed.
Was so excited. She squealed with happiness, and so after that they made everybody else squeal. They're like, we want you to be as excited as her.
Right. Squeal.
So that was funny. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. So the reason we stayed at La Quinta was because there is something at La Quinta that they do at night, which is the late night stitching room, which is a room that they open up in La Quinta, and the room is supposed to be open from 11 to 2.
Yeah, it's like a mini conference room or mini ballroom.
And the
it's
man
just a meeting room downstairs.
He was a sweetheart, and he actually opened it an hour or so early, but I don't want to get him in trouble. But he was very, very nice.
Yeah, all of the folks at La Quinta were very kind and helpful.
So it's just something that you need to know. If you're going to stitch late at night, which I do. I mean, I stitched till 1:30 one night, 1 o'clock another night.
Yeah, I stitched full on till 2:30 another night.
Yeah. She was up later than me.
I had a good time.
The third night I had a little indigestion, so I didn't go down.
Too much hot and spicy soup.
Or
hot
and sour soup.
Yeah,
yeah, or something. I don't know. But anyways, so you will need something else for the late night stitching room if you need a light and you need a magnifier.
Yes.
So the main StitchCon room has electric at every table.
At the convention center.
Right. But the La Quinta late night room does not.
Right.
So that you will need. I mean, they provide you with they provide you with a room. They provide us with a table and chairs.
Table, chairs. There's sufficient lighting. So if you have no problem like sitting at home in your living room watching TV on stitching 14 count, you don't need extra light. It's probably fine.
You'll be fine.
But if you're stitching if you have a hard time unless it's really bright, then you'll want to bring
a little bit of a light, or maybe a magnifier, or maybe something that's fun.
For the late night stitchy room.
Right, only.
The convention center is plenty bright.
Right. So if you go to bed early, you don't need to worry about any of that.
Right. Yes. Which you might, because the stitchy room on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday opens at 8 a.m.
Right.
So you may not want to stay up till 2 in the morning stitching. You might want to, hit the hay early and be up in time to get right back to the stitchy room at 8 a.m. at the
convention
center.
A lot of things I can't do, but I can still stitch till 1:30 or 2 in the morning.
Heck
and
yeah.
Get up at 6:30 in the morning and take a shower and be there. Like, I'm ready. Let's go. Now, they also have shopping at the convention center.
Oh, yes, the Annex.
We didn't talk about the Annex.
The Annex.
Right. So the Annex is this one big room, and they have designers, and they will put, and I think you have a couple of pictures
I have
of that.
pictures of the Annex.
They will put, like, all of the examples of the designs.
The models.
They call it a model?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's
the
stuff
model
that it's been stitched.
Yes.
And so you can look at those.
It's a collection of trunk shows, if you know what that is.
I didn't know what a trunk show was.
So a trunk show is where they have all the models stitched, but they also have like all the display nicks and knacks and bits and bobs. So they have like mini shelving units where they have them all, but then they have like a bucket with like some straw and I don't know, a mini toy rocking horse or something that kind of goes along with the same style of the stitching, stuff like that.
Right.
I'll insert pictures.
And there were a lot of patterns. There was a lot of fabric and
fabric.
Yeah. Now, on the one hand, I absolutely know because I shop and I shop online.
Yeah.
And some of the things I shopped after I came back from StitchCon, I looked at the prices online and went, whoa, that was a lot cheaper online than it was
some
at
things
the
you
Annex.
could find less expensive in other places, but
But
some things I've never seen anywhere else before, so I snatched them up.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I know that I was paying a lot for some of the fabrics, and I know I was overpaying for some of the patterns and things. It was right there. And so
It was very convenient.
did not have to pay for
it's
shipping.
Like next door to the you leave the door of the Stitchy room, and then across the hallway is the Annex. It's right there.
Right, and you can see it. Yeah.
Oh, and here's the thing too that I really liked about the Annex is if you've ever been in an LNS, everyone that I've ever been, a local needle shop, it is packed wall to wall with models and products, just stuff. And it can be hard to find stuff because it's packed in so tightly, and like you can barely get through. Like Keepsakes is actually a converted house. It's very cute. I took a ton of footage. I'll put some of that in
Some
here.
of the rooms are really tiny.
The rooms are really small, and we have big butts.
Yeah.
And it was difficult for us to walk by each other and some of the other stitchers at the same time
With our bags.
with our bags over our shoulder, without knocking shit over.
And if it wasn't my bag knocking something over, it was my butt knocking something over.
Big butts, guys, big butts. And so with the wall-to-wall stuff, I mean, we were just fascinated with all the shit in there. But with the Annex, they have it all laid out on the tables, and because I'm guessing because it's a convention center, they have to keep everything handicap accessible.
Like 3 feet apart.
Due to ADA. So there was plenty of room for us to walk by each other and other stitchers with our big old booties and still be able to get through and not knock things over. So everything was like laid out a little bit farther apart. At least there was room to walk by,
and it was
other
easier.
people.
It was easier to shop.
It was easier to
I
shop.
think it really was.
Yep. And so
Yeah.
I spent more money at the Annex than I did at Keepsakes.
The other thing is, at the Annex, they had someone who was cutting the fabric for you.
Oh, yes.
So if you picked up a yard
Well, they
of
had
fabric,
that at Keepsakes too.
right? But I'm
They had
just
somebody-
saying,
Yeah.
this is something you may not know.
Right.
You may think, oh my God, this fabric is, a whole yard. I don't want a whole yard. Well, there's a person right there at a table. There was a line, of course, but you wait your turn, and it went pretty fast. And you could say to her, oh, I want a quarter. I want a half.
Right.
I want 3/4.
And they let you, once they cut it, they let you pick
Choose.
which one you want. And I was like, I don't care. And she's like, pick one. So I did. She gave me the evil eyeball, the hairy eyeball.
They're not going to choose for you.
I was like, I don't care. And she's like, really?
Right.
So I picked one.
So if you say you want a half a yard, they're going to say, okay, here's this half, here's this half. Which marbling, which half do you want?
Yeah.
And then they put the other half, and they put a little sticker on it to show that it's no longer a full yard. They put a little sticker on it, and it goes back on the table for someone else who may want the other half of the yard.
None of my fabric went back on the table. I bought all of it.
All of it.
I just bought it.
Yeah, me too. But yes, but I just wanted to mention that because I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want a whole yard, but there's somebody there who will cut it for you.
Yes, they will cut it for you at the Annex and
nice.
at Keepsakes.
Yes.
That was really cool.
That's a
good point.
They had a lot of help.
They had a lot of people helping out.
Right.
They did. A lot of Keepsakes employees.
And the hold. They have a hold closet. So here's the thing. You're in the Annex and you've shopped, and all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, I'm going to meet my table mates for lunch in 10 minutes. And you look at the line.
Oh, the line is out the door.
To check out at the Annex to pay for all of your stuff.
It's very busy.
There was a lot of shopping going on.
I mean, there's 300 of us there all weekend, but there was never a point where there was nobody in the Annex that
So you know you're not going to get out of that line in 10 minutes. And you're going to miss the bus, or you're going to miss your mate. So what you can do is, in your bag that they give you when you register, there's like a little card, and you have a number on your card, and it matches the number on your name tag. Sarah's was 282. So you can see you have a little number way down there on your name tag. Mine was 85. And so what they do is, they'll take whatever you want to buy, they'll put it in a bag, they will put your number on the bag, and they have them in numerical order in bins, and they put it in a closet area.
And they will hold it for you, I think, until
for 1 day.
They close that night.
Right.
And then the next day it goes back out on the table for purchase.
Right. So if you somehow forget that you had stuff in the hold, you'll have to go back and find it again the next day.
At the end of the day, like 7 o'clock or so, they'll come out and make an announcement. Hey, we still have holds at the Annex. Just a reminder, if you don't purchase it today, it will be back on sale tomorrow, and somebody else will pick it up. So they did make a lot of announcements. They used that podium quite frequently to try and keep the entire room informed about what was going on.
But I actually used the hold because at one point we wanted to catch the bus to Keepsakes.
Okay.
And I didn't want to wait a whole hour because it was going to throw off our lunchtime and our day and all that. And my stomach has a clock in it. It knows when it's lunchtime.
We are on a schedule.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm in line. I'm like 5th or 6th from the register. The Keepsakes bus says it's leaving in 10 minutes. I still want to pack up some of my stuff. So I grabbed my patterns that I was buying, and I went over to the coat closet area.
Oh, yes.
And they have the hold, and the lady there was really nice. I didn't have my card with me because I didn't open the bag in the StitchCon thing until later.
Oh,
so I never saw
the one with the passport. Guys, read this.
Yeah.
It has all the directions in it.
Yeah, I didn't read the instructions. But anyway, so she had extra cards there. So they filled it out for me and they put it in a bag. I was out of there in like 3 minutes and didn't miss the bus, blah, blah, blah. And then when we came back from lunch and I had some time, I went back and got my stuff from hold. I went into the Annex and paid for it. So that
very convenient.
It was extremely. They
make it very easy to spend money.
Bring a credit card. Bring a spare suitcase if you have one.
Oh, yes. You need room in your suitcase. So I was lucky enough to have... We flew Southwest, and Southwest will let you check 2 bags. I only needed to check 1, but the other bag had all my Stitchy stuff in it. But I had plenty of room to bring back all of my purchases. So you know yourself. You know if you're going to end up buying a shit ton more than you expect. You're going to want to only bring a couple of projects to stitch on and leave room in your suitcase to bring Stitchy stuff home.
Because you will. I don't care who you are. You're going to shop. You're going to find it. You're going to find fabric that you have not seen before in colors that are not in your stash, and you're going to go, oh my God, I got to have a piece of this. Yeah. Or you're going to see such a cute design that you're like, oh my God, I've never seen this designer before. I'm going to get something. You know, I don't think anybody just came home with pictures.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I saw bags everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So, you know, be aware.
They do provide transportation, which is the Stitchy Bus. We did not rent a car for this trip.
Right.
We walked or we took the Stitchy Bus. So in here, one of the most important things for us, since we didn't rent a car, was the Stitchy Bus schedule. What the Stitchy Bus schedule contains is where it starts and where it stops at what time for each day. There's no, it's not like a bus stop schedule where it stops here at 1 o'clock and it stops here at 1:15 and it stops here at 1:30. It's not like that.
It doesn't work that way.
It tells you where it starts, where it stops for each day at each location. What happens with the Stitchy Bus is they give you Barbara runs Keepsakes, and they give you her husband's cell phone number, and you text him, where's the Stitchy Bus?
You could tell him, waiting at La Quinta, what's your ETA, or that kind of thing, and he will tell you, be there in a few minutes, or I'm just leaving Keepsakes
Which
now.
made me nervous because he's driving, right? But he makes all the stops, so when he stops, he texts, and he's really responsive.
Yes,
about
super
it.
Nice.
Super nice.
And he's a beekeeper also.
He's also a beekeeper, which was wicked cool.
We were chatting about bees.
Yeah, super kind guy, and he actually had a backup, and I don't remember that gentleman's name either. So there was 2 of them driving the bus. So what they do is they drive the bus on a loop between La Quinta, the convention center, and Keepsakes.
When it's open. Keepsakes closes at 5.
Yeah, so
opens at 10, closes at 5.
And that loop takes 45 to 50 minutes.
Right.
So if you're waiting for the bus, you're never waiting for more than an hour, which seems like a long time, but here's the deal. When you're at the convention center, whenever the bus has arrived, he will make an announcement over the intercom, hey, the Stitchy Bus is leaving in 10 minutes. So you have 10 minutes to gather up your shit if you want.
Or leave it.
Say temporarily goodbye to your table mates and go take the Stitchy Bus back to La Quinta or Keepsakes if you want to go shopping or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to make it as convenient as possible without like actual bus stops. So it worked out. Actually, we didn't really need a rental car.
Right.
I think if we were to rent one, it would just be to find different restaurants.
And the bus stops running at 9. Correct? Isn't it 9?
I don't know. It's in the
schedule.
itinerary.
But the bus stops running long before the Stitchy room opens.
Oh yeah, the last pickup was 9 p.m. and the Stitchy room was open till 10. So
no, the Stitchy room opened. Right,
no, it was open till 10.
Yeah. So if you're staying at La Quinta and you were relying on the Stitchy Bus, you
have to leave before the
hour.
Stitchy room is
locked.
However, this worked out to be advantageous for us because we would go back to the hotel room each night and shower and change and put on our PJs.
Or take a nap. And
then go down to the late night Stitchy room downstairs in our pajamas.
Right. So if you're staying at the Hyatt and you want to use the late night Stitchy room at La Quinta, you would need an automobile or a friend with an automobile.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of people that were local or had rented a car that would give rides to everybody else.
9 p.m. And then Sunday, the Stitchy Bus only runs from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Right.
But Sunday, the itinerary, the final. See, we didn't go Sunday. Sunday, the
Stitching room closes at 3.
The Stitching room closes at 3 p.m.
Right.
Yep.
So I think next year I really would like to have a vehicle because I would like to try out some of the other restaurants.
Well, also, the Stitchy Bus doesn't run from 5 to 7 because they're taking a dinner break, which is also when we would like to take a dinner break. So we didn't. So we walked to dinner close to the convention center because we couldn't get anywhere else. I'm sure that if we had asked, some kind stitcher would have given us a ride or taken us along. That's the only thing I think we would have needed a vehicle for, is if we wanted to go to dinner between 5 and 7 when the Stitchy Bus was not running.
Right.
So when you arrive at La Quinta, you check in. When we arrived, it was Wednesday afternoon, and there were already people stitching in the lobby. So we were itching to get going. But we wanted to check in, we wanted to unpack. I had to finish my small.
And they have a really nice little area when you first walk into the right. There's like couches and chairs and tables, and a bunch of us took it over and rearranged the furniture for them.
Yeah.
So we could all sit, and each of us could have a little table to put like our lights on and our stuff.
We stitched until like 11 o'clock in the lobby at La Quinta.
Right, because it didn't actually
it was
start
Wednesday
until Thursday at noon.
Yeah. Right.
The room has a refrigerator and a microwave.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend La
was
Quinta.
good.
I do. The rooms were
the
adequate.
only thing is that the takeaway food was in styrofoam, and then all the plates at breakfast were also styrofoam at La Quinta, and you really shouldn't microwave your food on styrofoam. It melts the styrofoam into your food.
So note to self, I'm going to bring lightweight plastic dishes, my feastware kit.
Really? You're going to bring that in your
I
suitcase?
am, in next time I go.
I just microwaved it. I ate mine cold. It was.
I microwaved mine. 30-second intervals, I just opened the door to make sure nothing was on fire.
Then you could just check and
but it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad.
Do it on a napkin.
A little plate and, knife, fork, spoon, and so there you go.
So we're at La Quinta. We unpacked. We're hungry. There's a Bob Evans literally across the street. So we walked there. It was fine. I mean, it's about what you expect. If you're from South Florida, it kind of reminds me of Denny's.
Well, except I will say this. If you are gluten-free or vegetarian,
not a lot of selection.
Right, there's not a lot on the menu for you to eat.
You can make your modifications. You can ask them to change things up, and they will.
Right.
But it's not. Living in South Florida, I'm used to menus that, like, at the bottom, it'll have a symbol. This is vegetarian, this is gluten-free, this is dairy-free, and then you look on the menu and it'll have the symbols next to it for those meals that apply. Thursday, we had breakfast downstairs at La Quinta. They had a spread. So here's the thing. because I have to eat gluten-free, unfortunately. It's a long fucking story. There wasn't a great selection. But I was satisfied. There was enough, and I wasn't hungry. But they had, you could make your own waffles.
Right.
And they had bagels.
Oatmeal.
And toast. Oatmeal. The oatmeal was gluten-free, so I had oatmeal. They had yogurt. It was kind of sugary, but it was still good. They had cereal, which I couldn't eat. Hard-boiled eggs. And then apple juice, orange juice, coffee, hot water for tea. I brought my favorite tea bag, so I had tea sometimes. Yeah.
Yep.
Creamer. They had liquid coffee creamer, not the powder stuff. It was liquid. I don't know. It matters to me. I know it doesn't matter to everybody, but it matters to me.
But they also had milk for the cereal. So basically your basic continental breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was okay.
It was okay. It was enough.
By day 4, I was like, I want something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, my bullet is too heavy to pack, so.
But we weren't going to walk to Bob Evans at 7 in the morning, so.
No, wasn't going to do it. And La Quinta provides breakfast. It's included with the price of the room, so you might as well.
Ooh, also across the street is a gas station with a grocery store. I forgot what it was called, not a grocery store, but it was kind of like a Wawa where they had like prepared sandwiches and some salads and stuff. So that was across the street from La Quinta, also within walking distance. So we got some snacks there.
Tuna sandwiches.
Yeah. We got some snacks there to supplement what we were eating elsewhere. Right. But there was plenty of stuff nearby. We walked everywhere. We walked to the brewery. So they mentioned in the
passport guide, there's a page that has all of the restaurants on it. I think it's towards the end there. There's a list. And they tell you where to eat. And so they have a list of restaurants, and we tried. So the first one is the Third Eye Brewing Company. Now you got to understand it will give you how many miles away it is. Now, I don't even think they did listed Bob Evans, and Bob Evans is 1.1 miles.
But that's 1.1 miles from the convention center. It's super close to La Quinta.
Right, but it's across the street from La Quinta. So what you got to understand is that some of the restaurants are closer to La Quinta, some of the restaurants are closer to the convention center.
Right, so at least in the 2022 StitchCon passport, the distances are listed from the convention center, not from La Quinta.
Right, so we basically just kind of looked around the street and went, oh, I see a sign that's probably food, let's go walk there.
Yep.
And we were going to go to Vincenzo's, which everybody recommended as the Italian place, but they didn't have anything gluten-free on the menu that we could see.
Yeah.
And so we decided to opt for Tokyo Japanese Restaurant.
Which was amazing.
Very good. I would highly recommend it.
You guys listen, in Fort Lauderdale, we are 20 minutes from the beach. We are spoiled to fresh seafood. This place, they rolled the sushi in front of you. The sushi rolls, they made it right there. They have a hibachi grill. Tell them about the soup, Mom.
Oh, my God. I had hot and sour soup, and it was only $2, and I expected, a little cup, because that's what you normally expect. It was a bowl, and it was very good.
Yeah.
It was well done. It was very good, and I know the taste. The Tokyo Japanese Restaurant, I'm almost afraid to tell you how good it was, because I'm afraid that next year we won't be able to get a table. But seriously, when I looked on the website, it said takeout only, and I think that's what probably put a lot of people off.
And it was probably left over from COVID, and if you run your own business,
and they never updated the website.
If you run your own brick and mortar business, you'll know updating your website is not the top priority.
So evidently they hadn't, and when we walked there, the place was open. There were lots of people eating inside. The help was all Asian, and that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
Because if I go to a Japanese restaurant and it's filled with
people who look like us.
People who are not Asian. We'll just say any other ethnicity but Asian.
We're like, oh.
It's usually a sign that it's
is it Americanized Chinese food, which...
Is it Chungking out of a can, which I've had at a restaurant once in Tennessee. I will tell you.
Oh.
Yes. In my travels, I have learned there are some places you should not eat certain foods because they're probably not likely to be authentic.
It's probably not 100% authentic, right?
But it was very good.
Fine, but it was delicious.
And they had 2 sushi chefs that were actually making the sushi, so the
And
sushi
the
took a
hibachi.
little time to wait.
Yeah.
Yep. But they had like Thai food and Chinese food and Japanese food and sushi, sashimi, nigiri.
Yes.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but they had all the things.
Yeah.
I had a hard time narrowing down what I wanted to eat, which is why we ate their 2 dinners in a row.
2 dinners in a row.
Because it was like,
It was delicious.
so
Oh my gosh.
so
and they
good.
had this chocolate dessert. It was a chocolate truffle. Oh, it was so good.
And it was just enough. Because it
Yeah.
was like about this big. So you look at it and it's like, oh, it's small, but it was so rich. I think
So
in
rich.
3 bites, I was like, I could stop now.
Oh no, I ate all of it.
I
Of course I did. I love chocolate.
I said I could stop now. I
Yeah.
didn't say I did stop.
No, we didn't.
I did not
We
stop.
ate all of it.
And we didn't share either.
Yeah, Mom even got a tummy ache later.
I did. I should have stopped.
It was delicious.
It was very rich. Where
that-
else did we eat that was, I mean, we might as well, no, we never made it to Cracker Barrel.
I
but
can't eat anything.
you can't
I literally
at Cracker
can't eat
Barrel.
anything at Cracker
Right.
Barrel.
In fact, I think the only places we ate was
No, it was Bob Evans, Tokyo.
And we did go to the Third Eye
Eye.
Brewing Company.
Oh,
Okay.
so the Third Eye Brewing Company, they have a huge selection of beer, which I can't drink because lots of beer has gluten in it.
Right.
Right? Because barley.
And I can tell you right now that I have a hard time talking and stitching at the same time. Stitching and drinking definitely don't go together for me. Because
you will be visited by the
the
frog.
frog. As it is, I had to frog out a lot of stuff that I stitched while I was chatting because apparently I can't talk
But
and count.
I did have a screwdriver, and it was the perfect mix. They had Tito's. I was happy with that. But their food selection is very limited. They're a brewery, not a restaurant. So
Right.
I don't know. I've been to other restaurants that have the name brewery in the name, like BJ's Brewery. There's one around the corner from here, and they have a huge selection of food, and they are also a brewery.
Right.
This wasn't the case. This was closer to like, what's the other one down the road?
Oh,
Buddha?
the Funky
Big
Buddha?
Funky Buddha.
Yeah.
Which is like all beer and like
Mostly
maybe
beer.
a snack. It's kind of like that. It was like
Yeah.
mostly beer with like snack food.
So we went with friends the first day to
Yeah.
have dinner.
Some of our
I think it
table
was
mates.
Dinner over there. We were invited with our table mates, which was nice.
Actually, maybe. Oh, let's finish talking about the food and then.
So the Third Eye Brewery, there was one thing on the menu I could eat. I had that one thing for dinner, and it was okay. But like 2 hours later, I was snacking on the peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
So clearly, yeah. So we were like, okay, we're not going to make a repeat. But if you like beer, if you like craft beers, and you have decided you are probably okay with drinking and stitching, or you don't care if you have to frog out everything that you've done all evening. But I wanted to stay up at the late night stitchy room.
Yeah.
That's why we stayed at La Quinta,
Right.
because we both are kind of night owls. Now, in order to avoid, for 2 days, we ate lunch at the convention center.
We did. And so the convention center concession stand is not run by Keepsakes or anyone associated with StitchCon. It's run by the convention center, and you pay convention center prices.
Right, so be prepared. I mean, there was nothing that I wanted that was vegetarian. I ended up eating hot dogs.
They had chips, hot dogs.
$5 hot dogs.
Yeah, $3
$3
cans
for a can of soda.
A 12 ounce or 20 ounce can of, it's 12, right?
Right.
A 12 ounce can of soda. And around the corner, there was a vending machine for 24 ounce bottles for $1.75.
Right, so
I
we
did that.
used the vending machine,
Buy that.
instead. But and don't bother with the pretzels. I had a $5 pretzel, and it was gross.
Yeah.
Hard as a rock.
The
I don't
salad
know if
was
it
good. I had a
stale.
grilled chicken salad, which was good, but they put bacon on it, and I was like, I didn't notice. So, but they had, when they listed they listed like the names of the salads, they didn't say what all was in it.
Right,
So
you have to
I
ask.
didn't discover. Yeah, I didn't ask it. I didn't discover. I mean, I didn't see like there was no croutons or anything, so I thought I was okay, but I didn't want the bacon. So
Right, so all I'm saying is if you're going to eat at the concession stand in the convention center, you better bring something.
the hot dog was good though. I had the hot dog. No
The hot
bun.
dog was good. I had
Hot
two.
dog was good.
I had 2 hot dogs with the buns.
And I didn't have a bun, so I asked them, could I have some of the hamburger toppings on the hot dog? And they were like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they were very nice.
Oh yeah, they
But
were very nice,
pricey.
very polite.
Woo.
But it's convention center prices. So
Yeah.
after we learned that, we started getting more snacks from the gas station across the street from La Quinta and bringing those.
Which had pre-prepared sandwiches and
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah,
which-
and it's
fruit.
gas station prices, which is a little less expensive than convention center prices.
Right, right.
So the convention center does not allow alcohol on the property, but La Quinta does. So if you enjoy an adult beverage on occasion, you are free to bring it to the late night Stitchy room, and there was a lot of that, and people were sharing. I did not see, I was there late. I was there till it closed, and I didn't see anyone get stupid. You know how some people get stupid drunk and they do stupid shit. There was none of that. Everyone was just laughing and having a good time and stitching, and it was a good time.
So what you need if you're going to StitchCon and you want to stitch at the late night stitching room, or you want to stitch anywhere, I would bring, you don't need a light, except for the late night stitching room, you kind of do need a light. The stitch room at StitchCon is very bright.
Yeah.
It's very
well lit. The convention center, even though the roof is like 20, 30, it's like 3 stories high.
But it's very bright.
Yeah. I was stitching 1 over 1 on 25 count, and I was fine.
And she was fine. Now, I have a little light with a magnifier. I have a little portable one. So I had bought a little a portable light that's small, and it's battery operated. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So when I go to StitchCon again, and I'm not saying if, I'm saying when, because it's on the calendar.
Yeah.
So when I go to StitchCon again, I will know that I am going to bring not just the electric light, but I am going to bring my little portable battery.
Oh, you'll bring both.
I will bring both, because in the late night stitching room, they do not have electric at the tables.
Oh, yes.
They only had a couple of plugs on the wall, and I need a light, and I need a magnifier. So I actually used my light and my magnifier in the late night stitching room.
Another thing you might like to know is what projects you want to bring. So here's the thing. There's not actually a lot of stitching happening at StitchCon.
Well, there is. But then
there's a lot of networking and frogging and eating and making friends, and sharing stories about all kinds of bullshit.
Right.
But the stitching, I didn't get that much stitching done. I stitched a little bit here and there on a couple of projects. So what I did was I wanted something to start with, so I brought a start. I ended up buying one and starting that instead. So I have a StitchCon start. I brought something that was almost finished so that I could finish. So I could ring the finish bell. You have a StitchCon finish.
Right.
And then the only other thing I think you might need, unless you're fickle like me and you like to go from project to project, but you really only need one other project, and that's the biggest count that you normally stitch. That's super easy. You've already done all the outline stitches and you're just filling it in.
Right. Anything that would be good, what you would call Netflix stitching.
Netflix.
So something you don't have to pay attention to, because I brought something I had to pay attention to, and I was off by 2 stitches.
Oh my gosh.
And then I frogged it out.
I brought Pandemic, and I stitched the same dumbass leaf 3 times. And I was sober, guys. I was not drinking. I was sober, and I stitched that stupid fucking leaf 3 times.
I only brought 2 projects with me. Actually, no, I'm lying. I brought 3. I only worked on 2.
Okay.
And one of them I worked on was your pro-choice Sal, and I ended up having to frog out part of that because I miscounted.
Yeah.
So then the other one that I worked on was my Cleopatra's Ouija board by Screaming Heart Designs, and I did get quite a bit done on that one.
Well, we'll show you all of that in our regular Flosstube episode. We'll show you our wits. But honestly,
when I watched other Flosstube people about StitchCon, because that's what I did before I went, I wanted to try and get prepared. And they said, don't bring 5, 6, 7 projects because you're only probably going to work on 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
Yeah.
And speaking of rules, I asked Steph and Pam about videotaping, because some places have rules about what you can and can't video, but they said no. They said, this is about Flosstubers, videotape whatever you want. So I did, and so here we are.
Yep. Everybody we met was super nice.
Yeah.
I didn't meet anybody that I wouldn't be completely happy to invite into my home.
Yeah.
And have dinner with. They were all really nice people, very supportive, and
everybody was happy to be there. So
that was the nice thing. Everybody was happy.
Yeah.
There might have been any bitching that was going on was, people bitch about, their spouse or their kids or
oh my God, I have to stitch that fucking leaf for a 3rd time.
That happened. But other than that, everybody really was happy. The last thing I'll say is, if you're debating because you don't know anybody, this is your first year,
yeah, it
you
doesn't
don't
matter.
Go alone.
If you don't know anybody, yeah, go alone.
Go.
It's okay. Go on your own.
I mean,
there were lots of stitchers there that didn't go with anyone and hadn't been before, and they had a great time.
Right, and I mean, I was just lucky that you wanted to go and you wanted me to go, but I would have gone by myself.
Yeah.
And you would have too.
I would have gone by myself.
Yeah. And we're not, really incredibly adventurous people, but
no.
Just do it. Don't let fear hold you back. Just do it.
Or not just StitchCon, like any stitching gathering, convention, get together. We're gonna start visiting more.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So
until then.
Until next time.
Stitch on.